The father was never the final stage. He was proof of concept. After the institute collapsed, Michael did not dream of the battle. He did not hear the steel tearing apart in his sleep. He did not see the fallen runners. He saw the eyes. The final moment when the father stopped fighting, when awareness returned, when recognition flickered. Not a monster, not a biological weapon. His brother. The memory replayed with surgical precision. The scar on the shoulder. The fraction of hesitation. The brief collapse of aggression into something almost human. That pause had not been instinct. It had been connection. Back in the temporary hideout, beneath cracked concrete and failing emergency lamps, Michael reopened the data fragments he had extracted before the institute fell. The files were damaged, sections erased with deliberate force, entire clusters overwritten. But not everything. Deep within a diagnostics archive, hidden beneath corrupted neural stabilization metrics, one line remained intact. Genetic compatibility observed within biological siblings. Stability index significantly elevated under shared lineage markers. He stared at the words for a long time. Biological siblings. Elevated stability. The project had not created resilience. It had mapped it. Memories began rearranging themselves like pieces of a design he had never seen clearly before. His brother volunteering for neural endurance testing years before the collapse. The relocation of their family to a district near experimental facilities. Their father working impossible hours, refusing to discuss his assignments. Then the disappearance. Not death, not accident. Selection. Michael felt something shift inside him. Not fear, not grief, but alignment. If compatibility was hereditary, if genetic markers influenced neural stability under mutation, then the father had not been chosen randomly. He had been identified long before the outbreak, which meant the system had known about their family, about him. That night, the theory tested itself. A lone infected approached the perimeter. Normally, they reacted violently to sound or movement. This one slowed as it neared Michael's position. Its posture changed, not passive, but uncertain. Its head tilted, as if listening. The infected stood within meters of him. Its breathing staggered in uneven bursts. For several seconds, it did nothing. Then it turned and walked away. Michael remained motionless long after it disappeared. This wasn't immunity. He wasn't invisible. But something in his presence interfered with whatever synchronization drove the infected. If Nirvana had functioned through a distributed neural network, a broadcast architecture built around anchors, then fragments of that signal might still pulse faintly across the city. And his brain might resonate differently, not stronger, not dominant, compatible. And if he could deduce this from broken files and field observation, then the corporation, with intact archives and full data sets, had likely reached the same conclusion. The destruction of the primary anchor would not end the system. It would trigger replacement. And somewhere in surviving infrastructure, automated protocols were already calculating probabilities. They did not arrive with noise. They did not leave bodies hanging as warnings. They came quietly, like a correction. The first signs were almost invisible. Supply routes went dark. Signal repeaters stopped responding. 2 scouts failed to check in. At first, it seemed like coincidence. The city swallowed people every day. Then one runner returned, injured, shaken. They moved differently, he whispered through clenched teeth. Disciplined, coordinated. They deploy aerial drones. They jam frequencies. Not hunters, not scavengers. Professionals. Hours later, a narrow-band encrypted transmission cut through static like a blade. Secondary compatible subject confirmed. Retrieval protocol initiated. Michael felt something cold settle inside his chest. Compatible subject. They had identified him. Somewhere within surviving infrastructure, algorithms had processed genetic databases, archived employment records, biometric markers. The death of the father had triggered a cascade of system alerts. The anchor was gone. Replacement required. For the first time, Michael saw them at dawn. For figures moved across a rooftop 2 blocks away. Matte black armor. compact scanning arrays mounted on their shoulders. No wasted movement. No hositastion. One deployed a directional scanner and slowly swept the surrounding buildings. They weren't searching randomly. They were triangulating. Michael understood immediately. The camp was compromised. If he stayed, others would die for him. By evening, evacuation protocols were in motion. Supplies split. Routes randomized. Signal beacons destroyed. Communication reduced to burst transmissions under 3 seconds. There was no panic, only efficiency. They don't want the base, Michael said quietly to the remaining survivors. They want me. No one argued. Long after nightfall, he left alone. The city felt different now. Not chaotic. Observed. On a barely active emergency frequency, a fragmented message slipped through interference. Object M02 mobile. Maintain visual. Capture priority. Object. Not Michael. Not survivor. Object. He was no longer being hunted as a witness. He was being tracked as infrastructure. Across distant rooftops, faint red glints adjusted focus. Optical sensors locking into position. The corporation had survived, and it was not interested in revenge. It was interested in continuation. If the Nirvana system required an anchor, if compatibility was hereditary, then Michael was no longer merely a byproduct of the catastrophe. He was a missing component. The city was once again a battlefield. But this time, the enemy was not infected flesh. It was organized intention. And somewhere beyond the ruins, behind secured networks and surviving command structures, someone had issued a simple directive. Retrieve the subject. Alive.